Hey guys, Fort Worth Glock Guy here again. I'm on a tear recently, and I wanted to talk about some of my OG EDC tools that have been around the channel for a long time. They get the most use. Yeah, all those things, that kind of pathway we're going to go down today. And what I will start with, I guess I'm going to have to start with this one right here. Okay, I hope this doesn't get too rambly, but anyways, this knife right here I've had for a long time, way prior to this channel even existing. It says 1987 on it. I don't know if I've had it since 1987, but I've had this one for a long time. Growing up, I was a Boy Scout. I always had a Swiss Army knife on me. Always, always. This is probably one of the first ones that I bought as a quote-unquote adult that I got at, I want to say maybe Target, because I thought it would look nice. It was something different than the red Celador scales of the time. And I was like, man, I want to get me a really nice knife. And this, I believe, might be that knife. And as you can see, it has been through quite a bit. It's been sharpened. It's been reground to where it's not even pointy anymore. It's more of a like sheep's foot kind of a thing. Yeah, it's just been through everything. All the battle scars. I just love it. Yeah, what can I say? And then this is probably another one of those stories where I've had it forever. This one is the model that has the scissors on it. And this lives in my kitchen. I have a bowl that I just throw like all my loose chains into. This lives in that bowl. And if my family ever needs a knife or a pair of scissors or whatever, this is just available to anybody and everybody to use. So I've had this one for a long time too, and as you can see, there's some battle scars on it as well, getting banged up against, you know, everything that gets thrown in that mix. So those two have kind of probably been around the longest, prior to my channel even existing. Once I started my channel in, I believe, 2012. A buddy of mine and I, we started the channels simultaneously. So I was the Fort Worth Glock guy. He was the Fort Worth Colt guy at the time. And we just started the channels because he was into guns. I was getting into guns, and I was like, well, you know, we were watching Hickok 45 and some of the other gun tubers of the time. And of course that leads into the path of EDC. And that's where this is. I mean, on my channel, I don't know if last time I've even spoken the word of pew pew. Because I've not evolved, but this is the path that I've gone down. So anyways, going through that whole thing, some of the original knives that I got into were some of the cheaper knives at the time, the Spyderco Tenacious, a lot of Spydercos, a few Benchmades. Yeah, I can't remember exactly. I was way into case knives. I loved collecting the copper lock, and that was a big collector of mine. And I got way into Swiss Army knives, which you've seen my collection on those. But my first real EDC knives that I got, probably one of my first like set was this, maybe this, and this. Like if you go back on my Instagram, I bet you saw this as a set at one point. I've had these almost since the beginning of my channel. This goes back to, I think I looked at the date, 2003. I obviously got this one secondhand, but it's been in my pocket and on my channel since the beginning of my channel, pretty much. I can't say enough good things about the juice. I love the size, I love the function, everything about it. I don't need anything bigger than that because I don't require that with my job. This works perfect. This was one of my original fancy flashlights. Of course, I had the Streamlight Microstream because that was popular at the time. This was my first like real fancy flashlight, the 4.7's Preon, and it was in titanium. It was really fancy, and you could turn it on and it would go through all the functions. So anyways, I've had this forever. These items right here are probably my original to the channel EDC. This was gifted to me by Texmos. You guys know him as Knife Tex. He gifted this to me because of the green. I had just gotten this, and I loved green. I do love green. It's one of my favorite colors. And he gifted me this Stockman. And so it has been through a lot too. You can see scratches on the blade. And yeah, I've had this one for a long time. And I love carrying it because, number one, it's a great knife. Number two, because of the friendship that I've had with Knife Tex through the years. This one was one of my original really expensive knives. Like, I remember when I got into knives, I had I think it was the Tenacious, and it was 8 CR13 MOV. Is that the right steel? You know, and the next thing up the food chain was the PM2. And for some reason, I could not justify paying that much for a knife. Yeah, fast forward 10 years later and look at me. It's kind of ridiculous. But I think I got one of these secondhand, and it opened that door for me, and I fell in love with this knife. And as you can see, it's been through a lot. The purple is kind of not there anymore. The edges are kind of worn off. And again, I love that. I love that about this knife. I will never get rid of this knife for that reason. It's still one of the best knives around. I mean, there's a reason that the PM2, the Benchmade 940, and I'll say the Chris Reeve and the Hinder, there's a reason that they've been around for this long and they still produce them, because they are that good of a knife. So anyways, let's keep going so I don't ramble more. Somewhere along the journey, I picked up this knife. I forget where, I forget from whom. This was, I do love single-bladed slip joints. And this one came up at some point. I grabbed it. It's a GEC 48, and the date stamp is 2012. So again, this is an older knife and one that I still carry. I love the acorn shield. I love the handle material. I have no idea what Cyclops means, but you can see right there, maybe, Cyclops. I think that's the steel. I don't know. But I love this because it's slim. You know, just like the 940, it's a real slim knife, but it's got a great blade on it too. So I've carried this one. This is like one of my go-to slip joints that I carry. What's next? Let's go to this one. Just talked about this in my previous video too. I got this from Erica's EDC. She was selling it. Man, I forget how long I've had this thing now. She called it the war bug because the testing that she does, she puts her knives through some stuff, and this went through some stuff, and I got it and immediately put it in my pocket. I think I changed out the pocket clip because I like the deep carry clip. I'm not a fan of the Benchmade bug out clip. It's too short for the knife, in my opinion. I changed out the hardware. I got some blue hardware to put on there just because I thought that looked cool. And yeah, I carried this for probably almost a year straight. And I loved it, and I still do. This is one of the best knives. The 940 and this bug out are two of the best knives Benchmade has put out that I've experienced. I love how thin this is. I love the sliciness of it. It's just a wonderful knife. Of course, with that, I had to get the Mini when it came out. And this one gets a ton of use too. This one is usually around, it goes in my pocket when I wake up in the morning, like lazy Saturday mornings. I'm wearing sweatpants or basketball shorts. This goes in my pocket for that reason. It's just so lightweight, and it does everything that I need to do, excuse me, in the morning. You know, opening up packages, you know, cutting up a thing of bacon. It has seen it all, and you can even see the color is not quite as bright orange as it used to be. Because this goes in my pocket every single morning when I wake up until I take a shower and change clothes, and then I get into my other stuff. So another great knife, lightweight, love it. Let's get into my other slip joints here. This one I got off of a friend from Instagram. I want to say his name was Sam. And this one I use in the kitchen. I use this blade for meats and cheeses. And this is totally weird. I get it. And I use this blade for fruits and vegetables. Why? I don't know. I just do. And I love using this knife. This is a 100% food only knife. I don't use it for anything else. Meat and cheese, fruits and vegetables. Why? I don't know. That's just what I do. This is a case tribal lock. I got this because of Clint from Alchemy 1, I believe. And he got one of these, and I thought it was kind of cool. It had a lock on the back, and so I went out and got one because of him. I don't know if I bought this from him. I may have bought this from him. I don't know. But yeah, this one is a great CV steel knife. This is my steak knife. Anytime I grill outside, I go and I grab this one. This is my steak knife. I've used it for other things. I think I've done a forced patina on it at one point. But this is my steak knife. This is what I use, and I love it. So it's been around for a long time as well. Next up is this one, actually. I've had this, the birth date on this, I think, is like 2016. I was trying to remember back and maybe even look on my Instagram. I think I've had this in the rotation since 2017. And I had one prior to this too. I had a blue one that was just a plain Jane 21 that I had anodized blue. And I carried that one for a year. And then I decided I liked the inlays better. So I decided the only way I'm going to carry this is if I get rid of the other one, because if I have the other one, I'm going to keep carrying the other one. So I just ended up selling it and then forced myself to carry this one. And I carried this one from 2017, until I got this one, actually. So 2017 to 2022, ish. Yeah, I carried this one for quite a while, and you can see like it's got a ton of like little snail trails on it. It's been through a lot, and that's why I love this thing. I love all the scratches. I love all the snail trails. I love everything about it because it tells a story. It shows that I've used it, and I could still use it. I love the in-single blade. I really do. It's one of my favorite blade shapes. I mean, kind of harking back to the 940 is kind of got the same thought. Excuse me. And I carried this from 2017 until, about a year ago. And then about a year ago, I bought this one only because number one, it was a good deal. It popped up on the secondary. I'm a sucker for that. And I wanted to see what the deal with the 31 is. So I got this one. It had gold hardware, actually. I don't know if you can tell that or not. But yeah, that is like their gold hardware or bronze or whatever. Kind of worn off. It doesn't even look much gold anymore. But I carried this one, or currently carry this one all the time. The coating has almost completely worn off. And there's the garbage truck going by. Yeah, and again, I love that. I like it when Sebenzas get to this point and they're not the gritty, velvety, like, touch. I like it when they get to this point. I think they look cooler when they are. So this is one of my absolute go-tos. Like, this is my knife that I take to work every single day. And I like to have the variation of the drop point versus the in-single. I can choose which one I want. I just grab whichever one I want. And then the last one that has been a little bit abused, I will say, is this Hinder. And I got this one off of the secondary. I cannot remember who or where. This was a vintage model. The vintage originally came, this is kind of a green anodization, and it came with like a walnut cover. Now we've got the recycle people coming in. And whoever I bought it from had replaced it with these black scales and black hardware. I kind of thought that looked cool. Again, it was used. There were a few scratches on it when I got it. So I knew that I would immediately start to carry it. Well, I did a little bit more than that. The edge wasn't great. It was a workable edge, but it was not a great edge. So this was kind of my knife that I would use for all the dirty things that you don't want to use your knives for. I thought, well, it's a Hinder, so it should be able to handle it, right? So that's what this is what I use for those kind of tasks. When I grab a knife that I know I'm probably going to be using it for something I shouldn't be using it for, this is the one I use. It's got 01 tool steel on it. All the scratches, these scratches are probably from cutting through like sandpaper. Like, again, stuff you shouldn't be doing with a knife, but I did it. And I did that because I knew I had to put a new edge on it anyways. So I just wanted to see what it would do. And that's the coating and how it held up cutting through sandpaper. Stupid. But I did it anyways. And then I resharpened it afterwards, and it resharpened up great. You can see that edge is just a mirror polish. I like this knife. I don't love it, but I really like this knife. And I might do a video on that coming up soon too. So if you're interested, stay tuned, okay? If you guys have any questions, sorry this has just kind of been a rambling video, but one that I wanted to do. I'm trying to be better about making videos, especially this week since I have the week off. Yeah, if there's anything you want me to chat about, if anything that you want to see from my collection, please let me know. Drop it in the comments. I'll be happy to do that. All right? Talk with you later. Forward with Clock Eye.